I've had situations where we had no technology support, and so some people were worried about who could read what handwriting. But even that's not it. All right? So, other questions or things that you would like to say about the search process before we get to our questions?
Nepotism has been a question that's been raised at every Board of Ed meeting. There are incestuous relationships in this district. And so when somebody applies for this position as superintendent, I think that, is there ever a possibility? There is a possibility when you're searching for someone that there could be a link or,
is that one of your questions?
We'd rather not have that.
Are you related
Does nepotism run rampant in this country?
Are you related to anybody in the district? Or?
Yes.
Is that one of your filter questions? Or is not one of your filters?
Or a board member, or board member. Because we got a problem, a major problem in the school district.
Yeah.
Okay, got it. I think we'll make that question.
We'll make sure that's part of our question. And if it is...
We think it's pretty unlikely, but we'll make it.
And if it is, we'll know it.
Has it ever come up?
That doesn't mean it's not a qualified person. No, it's...
Relationships haven't worked well.
I hear you. I hear you.
And they would not address that.
I hear that as an issue, and we will make sure that...
We'll ask them.
We have a couple of board members that have family members as employees in this district.
And administrators.
So now I guess everybody's considered. Can you consider administrators from this district also for superintendent?
Yes. Now.
I got a problem if they're in consideration.
Now wait a minute. The criteria is going to lay very heavily on superintendent experience or the equivalent, strongly preferred. There's not many administrative positions in any district where you can make the argument that that's either like the superintendent or the equivalent of. So this is not the kind of gate through which a lot of people can move who don't have that kind of experience. It's not likely. And on top of that, as you look, and we fully anticipate this, there are going to be interesting candidates who are going to have far more experience that we think is pertinent than somebody who might be a social studies supervisor, where social studies supervisors got very little chance here. And I will tell you also, somebody who's only been a principal and nothing else, so I think that's an important position, the chances of a principal being able to move to be a superintendent in this district are low because it's so complex. So when you add all of that in, apart from the concern about whatever has happened in the past in terms of nepotism, we can't go into that, but there's only a small number of people who even would meet the broad criteria that we're going to establish. Very small. And I think that population dwindles even more when they have to compete against the kinds of people who I think are going to be interested in this position. I think that there are going to be people who are presently superintendents who will see this as a very attractive position, and we know why. Because we think, regardless of what has happened in the short run here, this is still a quality place. It still is. And, well, those things tend to have more open kinds of wounds inside the community than they do beyond.
I think everybody across the country kind of knows about this because people in the 8 towns have gotten emails from friends, relatives, California, Connecticut, saying, oh my God, etc., etc.
Well, I don't doubt that you get some of that. I think the likelihood of this having the same kind of meaning outside these communities is low. And I think that the people who will be attracted to this are less concerned about the past and much more concerned about the future.
You do have to, you get a sense of understanding that we have a lot of distrust about what goes on with the war and the
It's more
apart from my clumsy reference to someone's title, yes, we know. Yes, we know. Yeah, sure.
That was
but that's why we asked the questions that
yes, we know. Now, we are very much interested in knowing the community, knowing the recent the not recent past, and focusing on this, on the opportunities and what can be. That's what we're doing.
But can assistant superintendents be considered? Do they have considered superintendent experience?
They could be considered, although that is a stretch in terms of the equivalency part of this.
Because I would have a problem with any assistant superintendent in this district applying for the job, because every one of them, I think, every one of them knew about the fraud that took place in this district. Not one person said it was wrong, give back the money, and that's why I have a problem with anyone being considered from this district for this spot.
Thank you. Okay.
Well, that'll be part of the information that we present to the board.
Okay.
Our feedback,
Thank you.
Both the community and the teachers could be once bitten, twice shy. We are all been bitten by one thing and we are all reacting to that phenomenon. That's where I want to hear from you, just not the community input and the teacher input, but I want to hear from you what input you're going to put in, what kind of experience or exposure you're going to intend to get from all the high schools. I know that you'll come here, I know that you're going to go to the Colts Neck, but other high schools are also part of this. So what is that you are going to do for us? That's what I want to hear.
Well, I thought we'd answered that, at least in part. Let me try another again. We will take the information that comes to us, and it will come in a large quantity, and we will distill that into what we think are the major principles in this, and we will present that to the board. And we're in a position to be able to do that. Having heard things like we are hearing tonight, which are not only the case here. They're not. They happen in other districts as well. Now, I don't mean to demean any of the deep feelings that we are hearing from people about what has happened. But there are things that will come, and we are the filter through which that comes, and we will give that to the board in the form of, here's what we've heard, here's what we think this means, here's what the categories we think make the most sense. What do you think? We do that for them. Once they decide, and they're not going to deviate tremendously from what's come out of the teachers, from what's come out of the community. Most of the time when people don't have that much time to be with one another, they think that people's impressions are widely different. They're not. That when you're in a reasonably healthy district, and this is one of them, and if it wasn't, we wouldn't waste our time here. We wouldn't go out trying to find people to come to a place if we didn't think that this is a place that a lot of good things exist and there is a bright future for the right person. We are going to do all of that. Where the help we really give them is when we go and seek people and talk to people and listen to them and make decisions about the fit in this. And where we help them structure the public part of this so that it will be very hard for people to say that this was a closed-door operation, that people didn't have an opportunity to hear, they didn't know how this came, they didn't know how this they were foreclosed from all of that. We can do that, we've done that, and it won't be a free-for-all. Because there are certain places, if you have community meetings with superintendents, candidates end up being the kind of things that drive candidates away. This will be a place structured in a way that we think will make a good sense, where it will become even more attractive to people here. That's what we can do.
Sir?
Yes.
Just two quick questions. The first one, will the public be able to see I know you mentioned about confidentiality before, but are we going to be, the public will be able to see the job application or the resume of all the candidates, not only the ones that you selected to present to the board? Are we going to be privy to that, or not at all?
We would advise against that. We would say to the board, you've asked us to do this. We will make the resumes of everybody other than the 6 available to you as the policy people if you want to see it, but we do not advise that those resumes become public documents. If we ever did that, you could take your population pool and reduce it by 2/3, right on the spot.
You won't get anybody who applies.
Of course not. Of course not. I understand the question.